So the aim of the Film Award is it's about fostering creative, resourceful filmmaking in the county, and it's to leave a bit of a legacy for the local filmmaking community. There's one award which is €12,000 towards the cost of production of a short film and a local premiere for that film once it's completed. Now, the competition is open for live action fiction shorts. So we're not looking for documentaries or animation or anything like that. This is live action fiction. We're looking for authentic storytelling and unique and original ideas from talented new filmmakers, both kind of experienced and also inexperienced as well, if you're kind of reasonably new to the industry as well. Yeah, so we have been doing this since 2008. Which is a long time now. The first winner was Donald Gleeson, who made Noreen with his dad Brendan and brother Brian. So great sort of pedigree. And since then, we have been funded about 16 short films over that the course of time, and we're now looking for number 17. So there are some rules, but the two things that you probably need to bear in mind more than anything else is that filming has to take place in the geographical bounds of County Offaly. So post-production, editing and anything like that, that's fine if that takes place wherever it is you're based or wherever your editor's based. But the actual filming itself should take place in Offaly, making use of Offaly's location. The other thing to remember, and this is a reasonably new rule for those of you who have been part of this before, is that we're kind of looking for at least one of the key production team. That's either the writer, the producer, the director, or a combination of all of those should be based in the Midlands of Ireland. We want to raise the profile of Midlands filmmakers, and so it's really great if we have at least one of those people on board who are based in the Midlands or have a very strong connection to the Midlands of Ireland. Okay, so we're currently at stage one of the competition. There are two stages. Stage one is we're just looking for the following. Unlike previous years, we are now moved to a fully online application process. Before it was all, believe it or not, it was all still done by post, which was kind of a little bit cumbersome, a little bit expensive, and a little bit hard to make sure that you're kind of hitting the deadlines, because you need to make sure that Ampost are delivering it on time and registered delivery and all of that. And also it's just not very environmentally conscious. So we've now moved to a completely online way of applying. So what we want for the stage one is there'll be an online application form that you need to fill out, which is very simple. It's mainly just questions of who you are and where you are and what the script is. We're looking for a copy of the script as well, uploaded, and a synopsis around about 500 words. I'd say certainly no more. A summary that outlines the entire story. If you're not familiar with that kind of thing, sometimes people kind of get mixed up synopsis with a log line for a film. So let's just say if you're talking about Jaws 2, the log line for the film is just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. It doesn't really tell you anything about the film, whereas a synopsis is a summary of all the stories, like there are some shark attacks, someone finds the shark blows up. That's more the kind of thing that we're looking for. Now, the main thing that we want to stress about this is that when you submit your copy of your script and your synopsis, please keep it anonymous. And by that, we mean on the actual file itself, the Word file or the PDF, we don't want to see any names that can identify where the script has come from. That might be the name of the writer or the production company or anything that can really identify itself. And the reason why we ask that is because we want to make sure in this first stage that we are judging the script solely on the quality of the writing, and there's no bias, either conscious or unconscious, creeping in. So we ask that the files that you upload, the copy of the script and the synopsis, that they are all kept anonymous. Now, don't worry, we will still be able to see the people administering the award will still be able to see whose scripts are whose. It's just that we want to keep it anonymous for the judges. So please bear that in mind. So what will happen is that the judges will read those scripts and they will come up with a short list. We're probably expecting, I guess, maybe about 5 or 6 on that short list. We'll go through to stage 2. This is stage 2, which is it gets a bit more kind of full on. So we at stage 2, we kind of ask that you submit a full production pack, and this can include, but it's not necessarily limited to, things like notes outlining the intended approach for the film. We're kind of concentrating more at this stage on how is this film going to be made. Evidence of things like ownership of rights, clearances and permissions. So for instance, a couple of the films that we've made over the years have been adapted from short stories by famous writers like Claire Keegan and Donald Ryan. If you're going to do something like that, then obviously you need to make sure that you've got the permission of the author in order to do that. And also to make sure that you've got the permission of the writers and anything else that is being used that might have an issue with copyright. We're also going to want to see a budget for the production, CVs of the proposed creative team, and maybe some ideas about casting, a rough time schedule for when the film is going to be made, and how the scenes are going to be broken down and arranged, and then any kind of relevant supporting materials. So really stage 2, once you're through to the shortlist, it's really about the nitty gritty about how is this film going to get made and all of those detailed plans. Following that, when you've done that, everyone will be asked to an interview, and so you'll be in front of an independent panel who will be asking you questions based upon your script and the production pack, and from then on they will make a decision, and then we will go through to our winner who will receive the bursary. Now, I did say there are 2 main rules to keep in mind, which is filming in Offaly and also having someone attached based in the Midlands. There are also some kind of slightly smaller rules as well, so I'll just go over those now. We're looking for really 1 script per author. So if your friend has got 5 or 6 film scripts and they send all of them in, we can only really count the 1. We'd have to rule out the other 4. Again, remember to omit the names from your scripts and synopses so that the readers can't tell who's written it. It's a short film award, so we're looking for an ideal duration of, I guess, 10 to 15 minutes. It's always a difficult thing to say how long these things are going to be. It's however long it takes to tell the story that you want to tell, but we'll be looking for an ideal duration around about that length. One of the things to remember is if you're not quite sure on how long your film might eventually be, normally a page of script is equivalent to a minute on screen. So if you have a film script which is, say, 34 pages or something like that, then you might want to kind of think about perhaps this might be a little bit too long for this this award, and also you have to remember the shorter the film, probably the longer, the further your budget would go almost. We do recommend that a creative team be attached to your project before submission, but that's not essential. And so the first stage is obviously we want to see the scripts. If you've got a producer or a director already interested, that's great. If you haven't, then we can kind of deal with that if and when you get through to stage 2. So if you have a killer script and you want to send it off, but you don't have a creative team attached to it yet, don't let that stop you. And we can try and see what we can do further down the line. As said before, either writer, producer or director should be based in the Midlands. So we are kind of taking that to be really sort of preferably Offaly, but also kind of Leash and Westmeath as well. Any genre, style, topic or perspective will be considered. We want you to wow us with your ideas and a really great script. And obviously, maybe practical considerations need to be taken into account. If you're doing a sci-fi script with lots of special effects, then your 12,000 budget isn't going to go very far. So those are always good things to consider. But we are kind of looking at, we want this to be as broad as possible. We want to hear some distinctive voices with something to say. And as I say, that's why we have the scripts judged blind, so that we're just purely looking at the quality of the ideas and the writing in that first stage. If you are a previous entrant of this award, that's great. And if you are applying again, that's also brilliant. We often find that sometimes people might kind of resubmit a script that they'd submitted a year or 2 before that's gone for a few redrafts. That's perfectly fine. The only thing that we do say is that if you have won this award before, or you're part of the creative team that have won this award before, either writer, producer or director, in the last 2 years, then you will not be able to enter. So I hope that's clear. The deadline that we're looking at is noon on the 23rd of February, so that is a week on Monday. And like I say, we've got rid of the postal entries now, so that kind of makes the competition move along a little bit quicker. So we're looking for online entries only via the submit link, which is in the guidelines and on our website, which should take you through to a very simple online form to fill out. Okay, so what are we kind of looking for? I kind of mentioned a little bit before, but we're kind of looking at the creativity and the quality of the project proposal. An important thing as well is to consider, because filming has to take place in Offaly, I think there needs to be, I guess, a good rationale for locating the film in Offaly, together with an understanding of the county and what it offers. For instance, if you've written a script that is, let me say, set in a giant office block in the middle of a big city, then Offaly might not be the best place to apply to for that, 'cause that's not the sort of thing that we have here. If you're not too familiar with the county, then I recommend going on the Film Offaly website and having a look at some of the locations that we have available. Also, things like the tourist website, council website, any kind of local community sites, just to give you an idea of what the county's like, kind of what it offers, and if your script is kind of suitable for that kind of thing. We're also very keen on the consideration and the utilisation of local crew and businesses. So one of the things that we do as Film Offaly is that we work with film crews from around the world who want to film in the area, and we have a location database, so we kind of help fix them with various locations. But there's also, we kind of help put them in touch with local film friendly businesses, and also things like local crew, extras, if there are any props that are particularly difficult to track down, that kind of thing. So we are there and we kind of support you. So what we want to see is really because we have a crew database available with there's local actors and stuff like that, we want to kind of see that they are kind of considered in the final project, just to make sure that this film has a good legacy. What we don't really want to have is a crew to kind of come film and then they just go away. We want to be able to offer local people, and by that I mean the Midlands, experience in working on a film. So if you give a little bit of consideration towards that when it comes to your crew and casting, that's also a plus point. We'll also be looking at the track record of the creative team that you've got attached to it as well. And also, and again, I guess this is a little bit of an obvious one, but it does need to be said, is the ability of the team to complete and deliver the project within the available budget. Okay, there's some hints and tips that we've got in the application form, and if you go online to FilmOffaly.ie, you'll be able to download a kind of the form of guidelines, which will go into this in a little bit more depth. We've got some tips and hints from previous winners as well. Maura Foley, who won for Missing a few years ago, sort of says, the biggest thing for her was choosing a story that she felt genuinely connected to. The personal link really carried her through the application process and beyond, and it's important to trust your instincts. Another good point that Maura has is that at the interview stage, you don't have to have everything figured out yet. Clarity and intention and honesty go a long way. So like we're saying, kind of we're really hoping to just kind of get some really great scripts coming in, and then we can kind of help with those production aspects as you go along. Conor McCormick, who's the director for The Cure and also producer of Bigfoot Lover, which was also a winner, sort of says, right with a location that's possible within the area. Again, this is what I was talking about in the previous slide. The general geography of the different areas and what is possible and not possible. Even those limitations can be rewarding when writing. Okay, so if you want to do a little bit more research, then by all means go crazy and watch as many Irish short films as you can. If you go onto the Film Offaly website, you can see there is a page under funding which is kind of devoted to the award, and you'll see individual pages here of some of the previous winners. Some of those, they might have just promo trailers for the film, and some of those will have the entire film to be able to watch. So I'll give you an idea of some of the things that we've funded before in the past. And also, if you go onto the Screen Island website, they have a really good short film player, which has a lot of Irish short films from across the decades, and that might help you with a little bit of inspiration as well. Okay, so that's really the main points. Just to say good luck, and I don't know if you're still there. If any of you have any questions, then now is the time to ask. Does the script have to be completely based in Offaly, or can it have a few out-of-county scenes in other Midlands counties, but intended to be totally shot in Offaly? Yes, sorry, that's a very good point. Shoot it in Offaly, but it doesn't have to be Offaly, if that makes sense. You can have a stately home double up as somewhere in Regency London, or that kind of thing. Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't have to be explicitly set in Offaly, but it just has to be made here. Like I say, feel free to ask if you have any further questions. Thank you for taking part, and best of luck. We're looking forward to receiving your entries. Thank you.